Hello, welcome to chapter 3. You've taken your first test and you've hopefully learned some things about yourself, about your study habits, about things you can improve on, about things you're doing really well, and I'm really proud of you. So this lesson is going to be all about 3.1 and all about graphing. So you'll see that there's some other videos that I put up in this whole chapter 3 that are going to be that I made for my other classes, but can be used for your class as well. But I will also have some other videos, particularly pertaining to our book. So I would like to do some problems from our book in chapter 3. If you turn to page like 210 to 11. And I am going to work on, the first one is going to be number 14. So this is all about graphing. And in particular, it's going to be graphing linear equations. In chapter 3, there's going to be a few things with quadratics, but it's just going to be using Desmos and graphing and finding things on the graph. So it won't be, we're not going to be doing anything with x squared equations, quadratics, for another chapter or two as far as solving. But you are going to need to get a Desmos account because this is going to help you with your graphing and your understanding. So I'm going to take you to do number 14 in Desmos here. So just want to remind you of a few things. If you're going to upload a Desmos link into Canvas, up here at the top right where my name is, you're going to click on the arrow that says share graph, and then you're going to click copy. And then that's what you're going to paste into the Canvas site. And so in Canvas, if you were going to upload an assignment and you were going to upload a URL, you would say, I'm going to start my assignment. And then right now you've already done file uploads, there's text entry, and then there's website URL. So that's where I would like you to do your Desmos link would be here in the website URL. And then you can also upload things from Google Drive. So I wanted to show that to you today. So let's go to our Desmos. In Desmos, if you want to write something to me, like an answer, you can just go up here to this plus button in the top left. Does everybody see that where it says add item? Click on that and tell it you want to do a note. And then you can say number, I'm going to do number 14. And then enter, and then any other plain line is going to assume that you're doing some mathematics. So we're going to have it graph for us that y equals. So I'm going to say y equals, and then fractions I like to put in parentheses so it keeps the fraction together. And you can see that there's a light gray to the right, which means that Desmos knows that you need to have a right parenthesis to close the left parenthesis. Parentheses always need a pair. So there, so now I've closed that, and then I can put X. And there is the line 1/3 X. And you can see 1/3 X goes through the 0, 0 point. And that's because we're not adding or subtracting anything after we multiply X times 1/3. Okay. And so in this lesson, we also talk about X and Y intercepts. And so the X intercept here is where it goes through the X axis, which I'm going to make a note. The X intercept is when X is, what X value will give me a 0 on the Y. And so the X and Y intercepts are the same on this one. So let's go ahead and look at the next one, y3 x plus 1. Okay, so now we're going to do part B that says 1/3 x plus 1. And there it is in purple. And you can see now the line does not go through the 0, 0 point. And so we have to find our X and Y intercepts. So remember, our X intercept is the X value when Y is 0. And so when Y is 0, we have to look for that. So if you click on the line, Desmos helps you find those. So in this lesson 3.1, we're just looking visually for them. Okay, I'm not asking you to solve them using algebra. We will do that eventually, but right now I would like you to just visually find them. So it's at -3, 0. And the y-intercept is the y value when x is 0. So that means we're going to go when y is 0, I'm sorry, when x is 0, and go up to the y value. And again, if we click on the line, it will give us in gray. And then if you hover over it, it will give you the point. Does everybody see that? 0 and 1 is the y-intercept. 0 and 1. Okay. Next up is going to be part C. So let's do this one. Is 1/3 x minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my other one. So there's my 1/3 x minus 3. And this time we need to find our x and y intercepts. And we're going to click on the line, and our y-intercept is shifted down. It's down below the x-axis, and that is, if we hover over it, the y-intercept is at 0, -3 this time. And the x-intercept, if we click on the line and hover over that point right here, it looks at the x-intercept is at 9 and 0. Okay. The next one I would like to do is number 26. And 26 says, find the intercepts for each graph, then use them to help sketch the graph. So I am going to show you on the graph in just a moment, but I'm going to go and show you on my paper because I would like you to start seeing how to do it with your algebra pieces. So number 26, the equation is y equals 4x minus 2. So the x-intercept is the x value when y is 0. So we're gonna replace y with 0 and solve for x. And we just did this on the first test. So to get x by itself, we divide by 4. And we see that x is 1/2. So my x-intercept is at 1/2 and 0. And then my y-intercept is when x is 0 is the y value. And this one's a little bit easier for most students to find because we're just going to put y equals, we're going to put 0 in for x and simplify for y. So 4 times 0 is 0, and so you're left with a -2. So the y-intercept is at 0, -2. So let's go validate this in Desmos, that the x-intercept is at 1/2 0 and the y-intercept is at 0, -2 for number 26. So we're going to put in y equals 2x minus 4. I'm going to turn off my other line. You can turn on and off your line. See here, I can just click on the blue and it goes away. So here is our new line, 2x minus 4. I'm hovering over there, and that I type in the wrong, oh, I typed in the wrong thing. It's 4x minus 2. I was going to say, wait a minute here. There it is, 4x minus 2. So there we go. Hovering over our x-intercept there, it's at 0.50, which is what we said, 1/2. And then our y-intercept is, yep, at 0, -2. Okay. So the next one I'd like to do is number 32. And that one is a squared equation. So I'm going to turn off this other graph. So we're going to say y equals, and you're going to do x. And then to get it into a squared, you can click on the keyboard. See down here on the bottom left, it says show keypad. And then you can click on where it says a squared. You can just click on that and it will square that value. And then I'm going to make the keypad smaller again. And then it's x squared, 26 is, I'm sorry, 32 is x squared plus 3. So we're going to add 3. Make sure that it's down next to it. So you can see our graph here. And look, we don't cross our x-axis at all. So there are no x-intercepts. So there's no x-intercepts. And then the y-intercept is, we're going to click on the graph, and it looks like it's at 0 and 3. Everybody see that? 0 and 3. That's number 32. Okay. So the next couple that I'd like to do are in your book. So number 39. Number 39 says hourly wages. Suppose you have a job that pays $7.50 per hour. And you work anywhere from 0 to 40 hours per week. Table 2 gives the amount of money you will earn in 1 week for working various hours. Construct a line graph from the information in table 2. So we have hours worked and the pay. And the pay is found by taking the number of hours worked and multiplying by 7.5 because it's $7.50 per hour. So in Desmos, what I'd like you to do is to practice, we're going to put this into Desmos with a table. We haven't done that yet. The hours worked is going to be our X1 column, and the Y values are going to be Y1. So we're going to put those in, and then we're going to see that we're going to have it draw the graph for us. So that's how we're going to get practice with that one. So let's go here. And we are going to just make a little note. That's number 89. And you're going to go up to the plus button and click on table. And then it should have a table started where it says X1, Y1. And so in X1, we're going to put 0 and 10 and 20 and 30 and 40. And then in Y1, we're going to put the values of 0, 75, 150, 225, and 300. And then I had an extra 50. I need to delete that. Okay. So once we get those in, then we wanted to plot the points. And so to do that, it's plotted them. We can see there's one at 0, 0 here because we've got the point 0, 0. But the other ones are very large numbers. So notice there is a magnifying glass here in the bottom left. See where it says zoom fit on my video? If you click that, it automatically does the scaling for your graph. So it should plot the points right there. Yep. And it sure did. Okay. The next one I'd like us to do, the last one for this lesson, besides you will definitely need to watch the other graphing videos and such. They will help you, is number 43. Okay. So, oopsie. Let's look at the book here. So number 43 is a graph that has a curve, but it's all about reading the graph, so that's okay. So it says the graph shows the number of people in line at a theater box office to buy tickets for a movie that starts at 7:30. The box office opens at 6:45. So we would expect a little after 6 o'clock, people are going to start getting in line to buy their ticket. And sure enough, you can see that from the graph. Between there's 6 and 6:30, so halfway in between should be 6:15, because it looks like they go, what they gave us is every half hour, but the lines in between will be halfway between there. So that should be 15 minutes. So before 6:15, it looks like our graph is at 0. And then people start coming because the graph is increasing. We're going to answer the questions in a moment. And so if we just go up, it looks like at 6:15, if we go up and meet the graph, it looks like there were about 20 people in line. So it says, how many people are in line at 6:30? So I'm going to go to my graph and go up from 6:30 straight up to my graph, and then I'm going to go over and see that it looks like there were about 60 people in line at 6:30. Go through these together, and then I'll let you see my paper so that you know exactly what answers we wrote for each. So we said 60 people were in line at 6:30. Then question B says, how many people are in line when the box office opens? So we kind of already went over that. So we said there were 0 people in line because the box office opened at 6:45. Oh, the box opens at 6:45. So that would be here. So 6:45, we're going to go up. And that looks like it's the most amount of people too, was at 6:45. And that was at 70 people. Then C says, how many people are in line when the movie starts? So the movie starts at 7:30, and it looks like there's still people in line waiting at 7:30. So it looks like there are 10 people waiting in line at 7:30. And then letter D says, at what times are there 60 people in line? So let's go up to 60, and it looks like it hits our graph twice. So it looks like first there's 60 people in line at 6:30, and then there's 60 people in line if we go over, and it looks like at 7 o'clock. So both at 6:30 and 7 p.m. And then the last question says, how long after the movie starts is there no one left in line? And so it looks like it doesn't look like there's anybody left in line about here, which looks like it's about 7:45, and the movie starts at 7:30. So that would be 15 minutes at 7:45. And it says how long after. So 7:45 minus 7:30 is 15 minutes. So these are the answers that I have. 60 people in line at 6:30. 70 people at 6:45, 10 people when it starts. There were 60 people 2 times, once at 6:30 and once at 7. And then about 15 minutes after it starts, there's no one left in line. Okay, so catch me back for lesson 3.2. And don't forget to watch the other videos.